Okay. Tonight is March 2nd, 2020. We're in volume 3, Tzurba Rabbanon. We're going to start Hilchos Mezzuzah, page 217. The following two shiurim will explore the halachic aspects of the mitzvah of placing a mezuzah on the doorpost. This very special mitzvah is mentioned twice in the Torah, both within the parshas of Kriyat Shema, together with the mitzvah of tefillah. It says in Dvarim, "Ukshartem la'os yadecha vayuluto nefos beinecha," which is tefillin. "Uksavtam al mezuzos beisecha v'yisharach," you shall write it on the mezuzah. And it says again in the parsha of Hayam Shema, "V'limaratem osam es mechem l'daber bam, v'shivtecha b'veisecha v'lotcha v'derech v'shavcha v'kumecha." And then it says, "Uksavtam al mezuzos beisecha v'yisharecha." And immediately afterwards, "Man yirbu yimecha v'yimei v'nechem ala adama." And what's the purpose of this mitzvah? The Rambam in Hilchos Mezzuzah says, "Chai v'adam lizar b'mezuzah." A person's supposed to be careful mezuzah, but neishi choivas hakol tamid. It's a mitzvah tmidi. It's incumbent upon everybody, and it's constantly incumbent. L'kol zman sheikanes v'yetzei, whenever you go in and out of your house, yifka b'yichud Hashem, you will come into contact with achdus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shmo shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'yizkor avaso. You'll remember the fact that you love Him. V'yeor mishnaso v'sheginaso b'el, and you will suddenly awaken from the stupor that you are in on a daily basis. You know, we go to work, we come back home, we go to work, come back home. We realize that v'yeda she'ein davar ha'omed lo'olam lo'omei olamim el yediyas tzura olam. Nothing remains permanent except the knowledge of the Creator of the world. So once you see that mezuzah, miyadu chozer l'daito, he comes back to his senses. V'holech b'darchim yishom, it'll cause him to go in an upright way. Amru chachamim rishonim kol mi sheyesh lo tefillin b'rosho, person who has tefillin on his head, uvizroho, and his arm, v'tzitzis b'vigdo, mezuzah b'pischo, tzitzis in mezuzah, muchzaku shlo yechta. It's a segula chazaka that you won't sin. Sharei yesh lo mazkirim rabim. You're always going to remember. Just like they say by Yosef, by Eshes Potiphar, he saw, in his imagination, he saw Dmut Yukno Shel Aviv. He didn't even have these sort of reminders. We have all these reminders around us. Ve'ein heim ha'malachim. These are the angels. Shematzilin osu malachto. Shenemar. Chonem alach Hashem saviv l'reya. Hashem encamps malachim around us. Vayachal tseim, and protects them. So, according to the Rambam, the mezuzah is designed to serve as a reminder of the omnipotence, presence of Hashem, and our responsibility in serving Him. If we truly contemplate the mezuzah's significance every time we pass by, we can thereby ensure that we will not sin. The Tur stresses, in addition, that fulfilling the mitzvah of mezuzah contains an incentive in that placing it upon our doorposts, number one, facilitates long life. Remember, there was a connection, Laman Yerbu Yimeichem, and also serve as a type of divine protection while we are at our homes. Just a footnote here, it's possible that the protection referred to here is from spiritually harmful forces rather than from physical harm. If so, the mezuzah is not meant to take the place of an alarm system or security system. We can understand how many tragedies befell Jews in their homes throughout history, despite the fact that they placed mezuzah upon their doorposts. So it's some kind of ruchnius thing. It says the Tur, mitzvah sasei lichtov parshas shma, parshas vayam shamoa, ulakovan al mezuzah sapesach, and put it on the doorpost. The tzarach lizar ma'odba. You have to be very careful in this mitzvah. Kol hazarba yarichu yama v'mei bonav. It will lengthen his life and the length of his children's lives. D'chsiv l'man yirbu yimechem v'mei v'nechem. U'g'doy l'mizu. She'abayis nishmar al yada. The house is protected. Melech bas v'dam mibifnim v'avodav shomrim osam v'chutz. If you go to Buckingham Palace, the queen is on the inside, and the guards are on the outside. V'osam yishenim al mitosam. V'atem, but with Jews, yishenim al mitaschem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu shomer eschem v'chutz. The melech, Kivyachol, is on the outside. We're on the inside sleeping soundly, but the king, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is on the outside protecting us. So it's reverse of what normal happens with royalty. that you're supposed to put the mezuzah on the outside tefach. That way, the whole bayit is within the mezuzah, and it will be part of the protection. You should have an intent to put the mezuzah not because you want protection, but because you're trying to be makayim the mitzvah of Hashem. Now, who is obligated in this mitzvah? According to the Mishnah in Brachos, women are also obligated in mitzvah mezuzah. According to Gemara in Kiddushin, the reason is that since the Torah promises long life for proper fulfillment of the mitzvah, women desire long life just as much men do. Therefore, she too has the same opportunity to do so as men. Says the footnote, the mezuzah is considered a mitzvah saseh shelo azman grama. It's not time bound, with regard to which women are generally obligated in any case, right? Women are only potter in mitzvah saseh azman grama that are connected to time.
The woman have a mitzvah of balos. In other words, a single woman will have a mitzvah to put up the mezuzah. Is the mezuzah talo in balos or is the mezuzah talo in the bayit?
Bayit.
Nothing to do with balos.
And therefore, for her husband,
if you don't own a house and you just whatever, you're just staying there for a day.
if you rent more than 30 days, though, if you
Yeah,
rent
yeah.
more than 30 days, you put it up. So, for example, a woman who, let's say she's a single woman, she's mechuyev the
This
mitzvah.
I understand. This I understand. But I mean, in other words,
And let's say you and Esty moved into your house.
yeah, so
There would be an Indian that she has a chiv to put in mezuzah just as much as you.
so she can make the broch and be moitzi. And
Good. Hang on.
This is a
Hang on. So women are obligated. Here, though, the Gemara asks that mezuzah should be compared to the mitzvah of Talmud Torah, because it's mentioned in Kriyas Shema the same way. And women should be exempted from mezuzah as they are from Talmud Torah. But the Gemara, can, even though it in its analysis says, Me'ikar din they should be chayiv because the mitzvah says they should lo azman grama, but since it's connected to Talmud Torah, there it says umadatem as b'neichem v'lo as b'noseichem. So women are specifically excluded from the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. Based on that, the Gemara wants to say women should also be excluded from mezuzah. So the Gemara answers that just like men desire long life, women desire long life, and they should be given the opportunity to do so. That's how the Gemara answered the question, why they are also mechuyev in it. So it would seem from here that if women are indeed obligated in the mitzvah of placing a mezuzah on the doorpost, it should also be permitted for a woman to perform the action of affixing the mezuzah. However, Rav Yoshua of Kutna suggests that perhaps she should not affix it herself, similar to the concept that she may not write the mezuzah scroll, like a Sefer Torah. Nevertheless, many modern poskim, if you look at the Shevet HaLevi, Rav Vosner, just passed away recently, and Rav Ovadia Yosef, do not see a reason for this distinction and permit a woman to affix the mezuzah to the doorpost.
That's parallel to modern day poskim saying women can learn Torah too.
I know, but I'm not sure that that's the same reason given. Women are allowed to learn Torah for a different reason, because they need to know today, and then the Chofetz Chaim said if you don't do it, they're going to be cut, in modern day, they won't have any connection to Yiddishkeit. And then you could, but their reason.
I don't understand where you're learning the thing out, because when it says is not feminine or masculine. It's straight up.
But it's a mitzvah says she'ein azman grama.
I understand.
So all mitzvahs women are
But
mechuyev.
I'm just saying from the Torah, because you're teaching b'nechem.
No, that's by Torah, not by mezuzah. It says l'madatem as
But
b'nei.
that's how you're learning the tzusha.
Why they want to say that mezuzah should not be chayv.
Right, tzusha. But from the pasuk itself, you can't learn it out.
You can't learn which out.
You can't learn out that it's the same mitzvah as Torah. That you're teaching only your sons and not your daughters. You can't learn that out.
The Gemara learns it out. The Gemara learns out because
you can't learn it out of K'tavtem al mezuzot beitechu v'sharecha.
no, not from there, but from the fact that there's a juxtaposition with the pasuk of l'madatem as b'neichem. That's why the Gemara had a havamina that since Talmud Torah women are exempt, and the mitzvah of Talmud Torah is right next to mezuzah, so maybe they should be exempt from that as well. So the Gemara answered, they're not exempt, but not because of anything to do with Talmud Torah, like Bernie wants to say, where since they're today connected, they're connected to there. No, it has to do with boy rachme. They want long life. And just like if men are given the opportunity to want long life, they should be given it as well. So we see that the modern day poskim allow.
You learn out that you're from the Torah that it protects you from everything. So why wouldn't women have the same protection?
No, because there it doesn't say Laman Yirbu Yemechem B'Mevnechem, like it says immediately after the pasuk of Ksavtam Al Muzos B'Zach V'Yirachal, Laman Yirbu Yemechem. So it's not a smichas from psukim. So there is no special. Yes, learning Torah has other skulos. Walter's correct, but not regarding length of life. And the Gemara there learns out that a woman gets the opportunity to do it because of that issue. The Shulchan Aruch codifies the mitzvah. Kol chayavim b'mezuzah, afilu noshim b'avodim, umechanchen saktaim lasos mezuzah l'pischayim. So mitzvah chinuch as well. Now, when does the obligation take effect? The Shulchan Aruch rules based on menachos that if one rents a house, there is a distinction with regard to when the obligation of mezuzah takes effect between whether one lives in Eretz Yisrael or in Chutz La'aretz. Says the Shulchan Aruch, hasoicher bais b'chutz la'aretz. If you rent a house in Chutz La'aretz, v'hadar b'pundik b'Eretz Yisrael, or you live right in a hotel in Eretz Yisrael, poter mezuzah shloshim yom. You don't have to put it up for 30 days. Beyond 30 days, you have to put it up. But hasoicher bais b'Eretz Yisrael, if you rent a house in Eretz Yisrael, you're not staying in an inn or a hotel, but you rented a house, chai b'mezuzah miyad mishum yishuv Eretz Yisrael.
I don't remember. Do hotel rooms in Israel have mezuzahs?
Is that takada? Is that
Do they?
takada halacha?
That's the halacha.
They do?
That if you rent a house in Eretz Yisrael, you got to put it up.
30 days?
You don't have 30 in Eretz Yisrael because of Yishuv Eretz Yisrael.
Have a rent an apartment. It's also the same.
Same thing.
Do hotel rooms have mezuzahs in Israel? I can't remember.
Don't know. Now remember, if someone is going to stay there beyond 30 days,
Yeah.
you'd have to put up a mezuzah.
Yeah.
So maybe they put it up just in case someone's going to be there for a long time.
So it's only if over 30 days.
No,
In Eretz, outside of Eretz Yisrael.
No, Israel.
In Israel, if you rent a house, you need to
Yes.
put it up right away.
An apartment.
Anything in Israel is right away.
Yeah, I
And
would
so
say
what
so.
about 2 days Yantef or 1 day Yantef? Over, if you rent a house over 30 days? If you
Are you the
obligated to put a mezuzah, are you keeping also 1 day?
Rabbi, I will tell you, Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, if you went to ask him, he would say, if you have a key to, he asked you, do you have a mafteach to something? Not a hotel room. He
Yeah.
meant if you own something and you have a key to it. He held it that you could.
But a hotel that he didn't.
No,
doesn't
absolutely
count.
not. He would ask you, do you have an airline ticket to go home?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And if you did. So, no, there are plenty of poskim say that allow you to keep 1 day. and no, but many, many poskim today. Okay. Which rooms are subject to the obligation of mezuzah? Although we have seen there's a biblical mitzvah to place mezuzah upon the doorpost of one's house, not every psicha, an entranceway, is subject to the obligation. The Rambam lists 10 basic conditions that are necessary in order for the doraisa obligation of mezuzah to take effect, some of which pertain to the house or room under discussion, while others of which pertain to the entranceway. Essentially, these conditions define the parameters that are necessary in order for the house or room to be considered usable for human occupancy, and the entranceway to be defined as a halachically complete one. Says the Rambam, Asar T'noim yesh b'bayis. So there are 10 conditions that make a house a house. V'achar kach is chayv hadar bo lasos lo mezuzah. So if he lives in something that doesn't have these criteria, even if he lived there more than 30 days, it would not require mezuzah. V'im choser t'nai echad mehen poter b'nam mezuzah. Eluim. Number 1, shebo dal amas al dal amas al yoyster. It's got to be 4 by 4 amas, right? An amas 2 feet, estimated. So you're talking about size-wise, most things would qualify. Well, 8 feet by 8 feet. We'll talk about closets and pantries soon. Then it says v'shetiena lo shtei mezuzot. It needs 2 doorposts. B'tzad yamin and b'tzad small. V'yelo mashkof b'l'mala. You need the lintel? The lintel overhead. The yellow tikra. The room has to have a roof. We'll see if you walk into a room and it doesn't have a roof, it's not mechayiv mezuzah. The yellow daltois needs doors. V'yashar gavoa asor tvachim hayoser. The entrance has to be at least 10 tvachim high. There's 5 tvachim to an amma. So, right? We said an amma is 2 feet, so this is, so,
10 feet.
say again?
No.
No, 2 feet, 4 feet.
4 feet.
4 feet. So it's pretty small. V'yeh bais chol lo beis haknesses. So it's got to be a beis haknesses is poter min hamezuzah. Now, hang on. We're going to see what the dinim today is. But meikar adin, a beis haknesses does not need a mezuzah. V'yeh asui l'diras adam has to be fit for human living. L'ma'et machsan b'chador, like a warehouse. Okay. V'asui l'diras kavod lo beis hakisi. Certain activities we don't want to go on into this. So, like a bathroom would not, or let's say a room or the house was just a bathroom would not need a mezuzah. The asui l'diras kva has to be a permanent place. The lo sukkah. So those are the criteria, and we're going to go into detail into a lot of different rules. Torah Bonon, it says in Masechta Yom Bisharecha, it's echad shari batim, a door, a gateway into a house. Echad shari chatzeros could be a door that enters into a courtyard. Echad shari medinos, we have cities that,
Gates.
like in Europe, right? City gates. The echad shari ayars. He said, first of all, there's a community Seagate in Brooklyn
Oh, right.
that had an entranceway. Have you ever been?
But this goes
I've been there,
against-
yeah.
And it has
Hasidish,
But
yeah,
this
there's
goes-
like,
This
yeah.
goes against what you just
The Coney
said.
Island.
why?
If you go through an entrance that has no roof, a hotzer doesn't have a roof.
A who?
I've never been in
Hotzer
India.
does not have a roof.
What's a hotzol?
There's gates.
The patio, doesn't have a roof.
No. So the room, but
within-
but we're going to
within
see
rooms?
a doorway also requires a mezuzah.
Even if he goes into
The shar, if it's got certain dimensions, because
Spanish
when
houses,
it
with
says
an arch.
bisharecha, even a gate to a city, v'echad sha'aros, yesh ben choivas mitzvah lamakom, to put a mezuzah there.
You see on the walls of
Mishum shenemar chtavtem avzos beisecho v'sharecha. Rashi explains that there are in fact some states or countries that have one entrance with a gate, although this is not a common phenomenon in modern times. Says Rashi, Echad Shari Medinos, Yesh Medina Mukefes Harim, V'arim V'kama Parsos, V'ein Yoitz Mimena Elader Sha'arim Kagon Eretz Hagar. And the footnote says they think it refers to Hungary, which is surrounded by mountainous regions, and one only enters and exits through gateways. So, the Gemara in Yuma, in the continuation there, clarifies which types of structures or rooms are exempt from the mitzvah of mezuzah, because they do not qualify for all the conditions necessary to be considered a room according to halacha. So V'atanya says the Gemara, Bisharecha echad shari batim v'echad shari chatzeres v'echad shari medinos v'echad shari yaros. So how can you say that these things need a mezuzah? You already said in the Baraisa that you include gates to a city and a courtyard, etc. V'refet, which is a barn, v'lul and chicken coop, umatvein, and a place to store hay, voitus yain, place to store wine, voitus shemen, aisle, chayav and mezuzah. So all of these things, according to Gemara, would require mezuzah, entrance into there. Yachol shenimar af beis shar. So maybe like a guardhouse. They used to have, some kind of arch, like in Buckingham Palace, where the guard stands right next to the archway. So that's called a beis shar. Or an Alexandra is like a patio. Umir Peset is like a balcony, right, looking over something. Maybe those would require Talmud Lamer bias. Ma bias miyuchad ladira, yatsu elu shein miyuchad ladira. Those things are not part of residence. Yachol shenimar be'af beis hakisi. What about a bathroom? Ubeis haborsaki, a tannery. Ubeis hamerchetz, a bathhouse. Ubeis hatfila, a mikveh. Talmud Lamer bias. Ma bias oisu lakov. It's got to be honorific. Avkol asu lakov. Yatsu elu shein asu lakov. These are not places of honor. Yachol shenimar be'af harabayis v'alishkos v'zarois. So maybe harabayis and the various offices in the base of Mikdash would require mezuzah. Talmud Lamer bias. Ma baishu chol, that has to be secular. This is how we excluded a base Knesset. Av kol shu chol yotzu elu shein kodesh. Based on this Gemara, that's how the Rambam deduced that a base knesses, because it's a makom kodesh, it's not a makom chol, would not require mezuzah. According to the Gemara, rooms or structures that are either not designated as living quarters, like a gatehouse, or are not designed to honor people, like a bathroom, or contain inherent, or a place that has inherent sanctity, like a shul, they are not defined halachically as a house. And the Shulchan Aruch codifies this. Elo makoimos shechayavim b'mezuzah. Echad shari batim v'shari chatzeros, a gateway into a house or a chotzer, medinos vayeros, even a gateway into a refes bakar v'lulin v'oitrus yayin, because of the din of sharecha. That's not a bias, but it's got a gate into something like a barn or a chicken coop or wine storage or oil storage. Ubeis ha'isha, a woman's house. Ubeis ha'shutofim, even if it was owned by partners. Kulam chayavim.
I don't understand chicken coop. It's disgusting, a chicken coop. It's the definition is it's going to be a disgusting place.
No, that's when it comes to how. That means when it comes to rooms in your bias. That they're discussing things that go on there, or discussing things that human beings use, like a bathhouse or the tannery or something like that. Because people don't. Those are places where you don't dwell. But the chicken coop, well, like a city, or like a gate, it's the gate of a city, or the gate of that's included in the mitzvah because it says beisecha uvisharecha.
Oh.
By it, that refers to a dira. And then Rambam had those conditions of dira. Then bisharecha brings gates, and remember the Gemara and Rashi brought even gates to the city. Yeah. So these other things are important things as well that require a mezuzah. Now, says the Ramah, v'davka kishabayit hashutofim Yisraelim. So two Jews who own a dwelling, there's a chiyuv mezuzah. Aval bayit shel Yisrael v'kachavim poter mezuzah. So if you have a goyish partner, you don't have to put a mezuzah. V'chein chatzeros, if the courtyard is owned b'shutfis of a goy, or ayaros shemiktas of the kachavim, or even a city where there's non-Jews there, p'turim mezuzah. Then he says, Beis HaKisei, Beis HaMerchatz, Beis HaBursaki, Beis HaTfilah, P'turim, L'fi she'enam asun l'diras kavod. These places, like a bathroom and a bathhouse, it's not dwelling there in honor, so it wouldn't require mezuzah. And b'makom sheyesh tinuf, kigon shetiyot. Let's say at a nursery, and the nursery is only used to take care of little children where you're changing their diapers. You wouldn't put a mezuzah there, or you could put a mezuzah tov l'chasos mezuzah. You cover the mezuzah in that room. Uv'makom tahara tov lios niris. Otherwise, the mezuzah should be visible. Right, in a place which doesn't have, like we'll talk about soon, like a laundry room. We'll see whether that requires a mezuzah based on this. Then mirpaset, which is like a balcony or a patio, a way, right? She derech lalos balis, or a way to go up to a second store. Ubeishar, these archways that sometimes, like when I lived on Martel across the street from you, you have the same thing. Remember, you entered via an archway.
Yes, there was an archway.
So Beishar v'agina p'turim. So the gardens, those are potter.
Yeah,
But the imbayis patuach le'echad me'elu chayavim.
Yeah.
But if the house is open to these things, then they're chayav. We have to put a mezuzah on those archways.
Yeah, those arches.
V'yesh armim shebeishar chayav afilu ein bayis pasuk.
What does it mean the house is open to? It's the entryway
to the house.
Yeah.
And then some say shebeishar chayav afilu ein bayis pasuk. Then even if it's not, because it's a structure in its own right. Now, regarding an elevator, if it needs a mezuzah, so that's for further iyun. You can read it afterwards.
How about an escalator?
Well, an elevator might have the dimensions.
Yeah, it has a roof.
8 by
has a
8, right?
ceiling.
8 feet by 8 feet, right?
But you don't dwell. I don't know.
I have that problem.
Yes, if
You have an elevator.
Harold, if you get stuck, you're dwelling in it.
Then you're dwelling in it.
So we have to learn that.
You learning it?
Once you shut
No,
the
that's
power
in
off.
we're not going to get there today. We might do part of it later on.
What's that?
Yeah.
Michael Lax has an elevator in his house in Toronto.
I use it.
We use it for the suitcases.
All the luggage. Luggage. And when Esty was sick and She couldn't walk up the stairs. It's only to get
We had an
direction.
incline-
Do you have an elevator operator? You have like someone sitting on
Yeah,
a
I get
stool
up
there?
First floor.
First floor,
Yes.
ladies.
When we moved into this house, it had an inclinator up the stairs.
Oh, really?
We had to take, but it was a very complicated structure with man. We had to rip that out.
I was a chair with a rail.
Right. For a while, we used it, and we would bring our suitcases up. One of the other requirements mentioned by the Rambam for mezuzah is that the room must have a minimum size of 4 by 4 amas. Thus, a room that is smaller than this
Put this away.
is exempt, as spelled out by the Shulchan Aruch based on the Gemara in Sukkah.
Thank you.
There is a dispute as to the length of 4 amas according to modern measurements. According to Rav Chaim Naeh, a length of 4 amas is equivalent to 6 feet, while according to Rav Moshe, it's equivalent to 7 feet. And according to the Chazon Ish, it's equivalent to 7.5 feet. Rav Hoffman suggests that those who live in the United States follow Rav Moshe. Okay. Says the Shulchan Aruch, Bai she'ein b'dad al dalid, potter. V'im yesh bo kedei l'rev dad amos al dad amos b'shaveh. Let's say it's circular, but it can contain a square of 4 amos by 4 amos, even though, for example, it aval pisha orko yoiser al rachbo, the length is greater. Right? It's not perfectly square, but if you measure it and it has that dimension of, let's say, 8 by 8, 64 square feet,
Yeah.
then it would be chayiv.
So when
Oshu ogel or balheza, or let's say it's 5 corners, a pentagon, but if it measures that amount in square footage, it would be chayiv.
When Bernie Sanders becomes president, will the Oval Office need a mezuzah? It's oval, but it's big enough.
Based on this, it's required.
Tell him.
Don't hold your breath.
Says the Pischei Tshuva Dal Damas, the Sefer Chamudei Daniel, that davka by Beit Dira tzarech davka shei Dal Damas al Dal
You
Damas.
don't have a child in it because he doesn't own it. Forgot
Oh, that's the government. Oh, no, he's gonna he's gonna take it. He's gonna take it.
Goyish partners.
Oh, he has Goyish.
I heard that he only flies private. He always tells everybody else. But
Oh, he flies private.
it just,
Yeah, of
even
course,
since he's been
typical.
a congressman, he would fly private.
Typical. Okay.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
Aval Beit Shar umirpeset begina filalu less bu Dal Dal Chaim. But these things, even if they don't have Dal Dal, it would require mezuzah v'od nira b'mi sheyesh lo bayis gadol v'yesh lo chadorim k'tan laniach sham chafetzim dechaim v'mezuzah. First has a big house. He has small rooms in which to put other things like closets. He says it's chayv mezuzah. According to this opinion, it seems that an outside area that is less than 4 by 4 amas but serves a functional purpose other than human dwelling, such as the gatehouse, a balcony, or a garden, would require mezuzah, as would a room inside a house of such size used for storage. Therefore, the Chamudei Duneil would apparently hold that one should affix a mezuzah on the doorpost of a walk-in closet or pantry that is not 4 by 4 amos. Because he said, beferish, things that even small rooms off the side that you would use for storage would require mezuzah. In addition, he would hold it like a gateway, the doorpost of a hallway that is not 4 by 4 amos, but that leads to a larger room should also have a mezuzah. However, other Achronim disagree with the Chamudei Daniel concerning this issue. Some of these include the Chai Adam, the Avnei Nezer, the Das Kochim, and Rav Belsky said that was the view of Rav Moshe, who stated that the custom in Europe was not to follow the opinion of the Chamudei Daniel. So there's people to rely on that in pantries and closets and things like that. You would not have to put a mezuzah. And Rav Yitzchak Yaakov Weiss, the Minchas Yitzchak, remember, the Minchas Yitzchak, he passed away maybe 10, 15 years ago, was the Av Beis Din of the Eida Charedis in Yerushalayim. So he was, who Rav Sternbuch today took his place. So we're talking about someone who's very Haredi. So, but Rav Weiss said that even if one is stringent, in accordance with the Chamudei Daniel, a closet that is not even used for people to enter normally, but rather to hang clothes or similar purposes, would be exempt from the obligation of mezuzah. Not a walk-in one. If the closet is big enough for a walk-in one, so that would require it. Says the Minchas Yitzchak, let's see it inside. Nira de k'mo cheder kotten shetoch habayis, shekatzer ma'achil ma'od, that is very small, and shemish tam shel litzir knisha shel bnei Adam. It's not really used for entrance, people. Rak poischin adelas, you open the door and you hang something in there. You don't really walk in it. ומשתמשים דרו הלוך ובבוא מבחוץ, שאז בוודאי פוטר ממזוזה. ובביתי, the Minchas Yitzchak says in my house, יש חדר קוטן כזה, שמשתמשים לתליית בגדים בתוכו, that they hang clothes there. He says very clearly that doesn't need a mezuzah. Another one of the basic requirements mentioned above by the Rambam to be considered a room for the person of mezuzah is a roof. We saw that in the Gemara Menachos that states that the Pischei Shmaya, right, the openings to heaven, are exempt from the obligation of mezuzah. And one opinion defines such an entranceway as a room without a roof. It says Masechta Menachos, Omer Rav Hani, Psichei Shmaya, these broken entrances are potem namezuzah. My Pischei Shmaya. What is this? Pligi bar Rav Rechume va'Abba Yosi. There's machlokes amiroim. Chadam de leslu tikra. One held it referred to a room that didn't have a roof. The chadam de lesli shkufi, that it didn't have just the lintels, on top of the doors. But the Rambam rules that a room without a roof is exempt from the placement of mezuzah, and adds that if only part of the room is covered with a roof, a mezuzah must still be placed on the doorpost if the section that is roofed is next to the doorpost. So, if you have a room, part of it doesn't have a roof, but the part next to the door has a roof, it would be chayiv and mezuzah, right? By sheino tikra, potem on mezuzah, but haya miktzasa makura, if part of it was roofed, u'miktzasa makura yearly. So the Rambam says shim haya akiri keneged pesach shu chayiv and mezuzah. Shulchan Aruch lists also a number of halachot regarding other rooms, whether they're subject to mezuzah or not. It says Abaye savu b'sheino daltois chayiv and mezuzah v'yesh mishapoiter. He says that a room that doesn't have doors is chayiv and mezuzah. Some hold that you're potter. Now, what about harbe chadorim? Zelif nimizeh. Our houses, you go into one room, you go into another room. Means one room leads to other rooms. So that's called harbe chadorim zelif nimizeh. Kulam chayovim b'mezuzah. That's why we all have 40, 50 mezuzahs in our house, because all of these rooms, even though one enters into the other from the Shulchan Aruch, it's clear that each one of them needs his own mezuzah.
What is a house with a room without doors?
It doesn't have the door. It has an opening but no door. Let's say you hang a curtain there. Doesn't mean it doesn't have an entranceway. You have an entranceway but no door. Right? So im yesh b'bayis harbe psochim l'chatzer, right? People have multiple doors opening up into the house. And maybe some that go into the courtyard, some to Rosh Hashanah, v'nasu kulam leknisas v'yitzis bnei adam. But each one of the doors is made for entering and exiting. Kulam chayovim. So they're all chayov. Afilu nismatu adiyurim she'en regilan atalatzes v'lavela be'echad mehem. Let's say at one point there were a lot of people living there. Now there's less. And perhaps the people now living there only use one entrance. At one point, since they all used it, it would all still be
What
chayiv.
happens if you have a room that leads into another bed, one bedroom?
So we already said that.
No.
Harbe chador,
The second
zelif
one
nim
needs
is-
two mezuzahs,
Say
one
again?
going in and one going out?
No. We're talking about room into a room.
Yeah.
So this hallway is a room, so it has a mezuzah. And then that room has a mezuzah, and then the room going, that means,
No, but I've seen, believe it or not, a home that has a bedroom, and to go to the second bedroom, you have to pass
So Jack
the
and
first
Jill.
bedroom.
So Jack
fine,
and Jill.
that would also need a room.
Yeah, but you have to figure out where you're which is the
We'll see.
going.
That means where do you put the
Because
mezuzah?
his room
That
doesn't
has
have
to
an
do-
exit, he has to come
Okay.
through this one.
That has to do with where do you put the mezuzah.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
see.
That's coming,
So-
yeah.
But here we're talking about the chiyuv mezuzah. These rooms require a mezuzah. So where to put it, we're going to deal with. Then, by sheyesh lo psuchim harbe, aval pi she'ena rogil lotzis v'lovo ela ba'achas mehem. Right, a house that has many entrances, and even though you're only supposed to, you're used to only going through one, chayv asus mezuzah b'chol pesach u'pesach. Says the Ramah, hoil v'nasu l'knisa v'yitziu, because they were made for coming in and going out. It should be clear from these halachos in the Shulchan Aruch that one may not just place a mezuzah merely on the front door of one's house alone. Rather, every room that fulfills the criteria needs one. Gentlemen, it's not that long ago, here in America, where people would put a mezuzah on their front door,
And that's it.
and that was it.
Yeah.
That was the standard.
Right.
And so...
I heard a story today. Kirk Douglas had a mezuzah on his house, but nothing was inside. He didn't know. He put a mezuzah up. He thought just the plastic, the people didn't know.
Oh, so maybe years ago.
Years
But then
ago.
when it became from.
Well, yeah.
Okay,
Maybe that's
but
how
I,
disgusting.
listen, that was the minig.
Yeah.
For the now,
What's that?
this is made clear. Listen to the following quote of the Ramah.
Oh, it's not there anymore. It
Right?
fell off.
The Ramah lived in Krakow in about 1600, right? And here's the quote from the Ramah, who reports a custom practiced in his time of placing mezuzah only on the front door, right? Aminag dispashe b'mdinos elu. Whenever the Ramah says that, he means
I
in,
remember growing up in South Africa, was the same.
so in L.A. Absolutely. The fact that somebody put mezuzah on every, that was like a chumrah already, or you had to be a Talmud Chacham, or you had to know what you're. But this is a halach and Shulchan Aruch, right? We thought that it was a midas chasidus, whatever. We see it's mikra din. So he says, "Aminag is pashay b'vinos derov olam soim chilam mezuzah achas she'oisna pesach batem." Says the Ramah, "Eino nochon, vein lahem al mashi yismachu." That's not correct. They have nothing to rely on. Lachen kol yirei shamayim yitaken beito kedino b'kol hapsach machayovim commotion is boyer. Based on the principles that we have delineated here, there's a contemporary work on Mezzuzah v'Hilchos Mezzuzah, presents a number of applications to cases that are common today. Pesach ha'asui lasois chirum. You have like fire escape, an exit only for an emergency purpose. Sheyoytzi mimenu lemadregot, right? You exit there to like steps, shehem michutz lebinyan, that are outside of your house. Kigon b'shas streifa lo aleinu, like during a fire. That exit would be poter b'mezuzah. Kivan shelo nasa leknisas v'yatzis be'eram b'kvigos. It's not meant for normal entrance and exit on a regular basis. So that would be excluded. Chadorim shemishtabshim b'hem rak leprokim. Let's say you have a room that you only use it very occasionally. Afilim nichlosim letocha rak pamachas b'shana mikol mokom chayovim b'mezuzah. Such a room, even though you don't use it frequently, it still needs a mezuzah. Cheder she'ish v'ishto yeshenim bo chayv b'mezuzah b'bracha. He wants to say, because we talked about, well, like in a nursery, you shouldn't have a mezuzah. Well, where their husband and wife sleep, it requires a mezuzah. That's a dira. That's where how you people live. It's not, and we're going to see sometimes people would put up a mezuzah not with a bracha. If there's a question, does this room need a mezuzah or not? So he wants to say, no, this room needs a mezuzah with a bracha.
I recall seeing at Cedars, they have mezuzahs on the doors at Cedars. It's not even, is that necessary? It's a hospital. No one's living in the room. There are mezuzahs at Cedars.
Live there for a month.
If they go,
Well, remember
Go
we
to
said if
hospital?
you're in a hotel and you're there for
call it
30.
a hotel.
It is. I have to tell patients many times. This is not like they don't want to leave the hospital. This is not a hotel. It's a hospital.
They don't want to leave.
Absolutely. So there are people who are there more than 30 days.
Well, we have in our office in every room.
In the office, you'll see, I see it's coming up the office.
Cheder sheish. Okay. Dira she'ena shel kavod. P'tur mezuzah kagon cheder ambatya shebetoch hadira. Right. He says any room with a bathtub doesn't require mezuzah. Mitbach, kitchen, chay b'mezuzah. Beinim ochlim bo tamid, beinim lo ochlim bo tamid. It's where the food is prepared. It's okay, even though you don't eat there. Mirpeses, a porch. Sheyesh la arba ames la arba ames. The gami makura b'tikra. It has a roof. Chayeves b'mezuzah im bracha. Yesh oimrim shecheder mirpeses shirus, a service porch. Hamiyuodim lekvisa for laundry. Mechapsim behem gam bigdei ktonim. And they do diapers. Sheish b'hem tinuf p'tur mehem mezuzah. We call makom chedrei kvisa shebizmanenu. But he says laundry rooms in our time. Shebderech klal abgodim shebechapsim behem enem etunafim. We don't. There's no feces in our garments. The regular laundry. There's no babies there. We're not diapers. Even enem mamash v'gam enem megulim. It's not open. Elamunachim b'mitken. By the way, these things are put in a washing machine, or they're kept in a diaper thing, in like a clothing hamper. And people, maybe they keep their cases of soda there, or whatever, So therefore, tzarich likvah b'mezuzah lo bracha. You put a mezuzah, but not a bracha. Because again, of this issue that maybe things are not covered would be there. Shira Levi discusses whether airplanes would be subject to the obligation of mezuzah. Airplanes. He rules that they are not, since they are no more permanent in terms of people living there than living quarters on a ship, which are exempt from mezuzah according to the Gemara. But living
ship,
quarters
yeah.
in a hotel, in a hotel,
Yeah.
if you're there more than 30 days,
Yeah.
What happens if
or in
you
a
go-
hospital,
What happens if you go on a cruise for?
Yeah.
On a cruise for
because the
6
Gemara has
months,
a specific exemption for sfina.
Oh,
So he wants to say an airplane is analogous to a sfina.
what did Lisa do? Lisa on her boat.
Yeah, Lisa.
Does she have mezuzahs?
Who?
Lisa Stern. No mezuzahs in the, okay.
Says
What about they have cruise ship where you actually buy a condo
And you live,
on the
yeah.
ship and you can live
a
on it?
sfina is excluded from mezuzah,
Completely.
from the Gemara.
Why,
Okay.
you save a lot of money.
V'das kedoshim.
They're on the whole ship.
Mesupik le'inyan oil zaruk, a flying tent. Uv'migdash ma'at tama, which is another say for tama. He wondered, the enlecha bayis garum is that. It's a bad house. Zman hazeh, hani sfinos da avir. He calls them,
Airplanes.
well, he calls them airboats.
Airship.
Airships.
Airships.
A dirigible.
Airships.
Nehi the bayis garu lahavi mikol
Zeppelin.
makam lo gormi bayis shesfina v'sukos achag de pturim.
Did the Graf Zeppelin have mezuzahs?
What is a flying tent? Again?
No. The din of oil zaruk.
Flying carpet.
If you take
Persian. It's a Persian airline.
a container and you throw it. So there are certain dinim that relate to Tumah V'Tahara and is it considered a bias, etc. So first they wanted to say maybe a airplane is like a tent that you throw, but then they said no, it's similar to a ship because it's built strong. We've learned so far that in order for one to be obligated to place mezuzah on the doorpost, the room must be one that can be used for dwelling. What is halacha concerning office buildings, stores, and shops, where those working there do not sleep on the premises, but they're there on a regular basis every day? Are you obligated to place a mezuzah? The Taz suggests that such a room is in fact exempt from mezuzah. The nearly in
But I
Yoshim,
didn't put it in my store.
the nearly in Yoshim b'chol yom pturim.
Yeah.
Kivadem sham balayla mikre aroy. So if you're not there at night, it's temporary, and therefore it would be potter.
There you have mezuzahs on.
However, other achronim such as the Piskei Tshuva and the Aruch HaShulchan hold that one must place a mezuzah on the entrances to the offices and stores.
That's what I-
There, we don't
I
have the
follow
dinim
content.
of all the rooms inside. It's only on the outside. Chai mezuzah lav davka b'bayis shedarbo hu uvnei beso v'ochle v'shoyse v'shanim sham du adinim rak mishtamish bo be'eze tashmish chai mezuzah.
Are you sure that's the halacha of the offices? You don't need an office on every office in mezuzah?
No, I didn't say. I said must place mezuzah on the entrances to offices and stores.
In other words, you need.
So the practical halacha is that one should certainly affix a mezuzah on the doorpost of an office or store, which is the common practice. But different customs exist as to whether one recites a bracha or not. Rav Gezer Melamed suggests that if one sometimes eats lunch in the room, it would certainly be logical to recite a bracha as well as upon affixing a mezuzah. So there's no question, if you have a room inside separate from that, that would require its own mezuzah in a chanami. And that even if you're
What's the
mesopik
konveyor eating? It seems
I
that
wonder
the
what-
konveyor is eating here.
Yeah.
here,
If you eat in your office, you have a cup, something in your office, so you're chayv on a mezuzah?
and because that makes it like a door that you're dwelling there. Certainly, because you're not sleeping there, but you're doing more tashmish of it in a normal way than just doing business.
What about in the garage? The garage was fit by foreigners, but you don't live there.
Yeah, but if you store things in it, it would be mishtamish, like we said.
I have to put one in my garage.
It says storage not. Earlier I said if it's storage.
No, we
it's
said
not.
in your maybe it would depend if it's connected to your house or not. If it's connected to your house, you might have just like we said in a pantry
Mine is
or in a
detached.
closet, you would need it.
It's detached, separate.
You may not. So we'll see if we get to that.
Couldn't happen to a nice cigar.
Nira shema moichrim.
Happen to a nice cigar.
Nira shema moichrim megilim lechol b'meshach hayom b'chanut. Rishayim levarech al kviyas mezuzah. They're permitted to make a bracha. What about a shul? The Rambam in the seventh requirement said that it has to be a Mokum Chol, not a Mokum Kodesh. Mokum Kodesh, we learned that from the base of Mikdash, doesn't require mezuzah. The Gemara in Yom actually cites a machlokas concerning whether a shul is subject to the obligation of mezuzah, assuming there is no bedroom used regularly for sleeping there. So the shamas used to sleep there. So there's no question that they would have to put a mezuzah on such a shul.
I would think it's usually if the rabbi gives a speech.
You sleep. You sleep there.
Says the Gemara, Beis HaKnesses sheyesh bo Beis Dira l'chazan HaKnesses chayv mezuzah. So if there's a dwelling place where he sleeps there, it certainly needs a mezuzah. V'she'ein bo Beis Dira Reb Meir Mechayev v'chachamim poitri. So it's machlokes Reb Meir and the Chachamim. The Rambam ruled like the Chachamim that a shul is exempt. Harabayis, halishkos vazoros, ubate knesios, ubate midroshos she'ein bohem Beis Dira pturin lefi she'ein kodesh. Seems that according to the Rambam, the reason for the exemption is that since these structures are holy, they don't qualify as regular dwelling places. Despite the ruling of the Rambam, the common custom today is to place a mezuzah on the entrance to a shul without reciting a bracha, since shiurim are often held there, which thus gives it the status of a beit midrash, in which eating is sometimes permitted, and is considered more like a dwelling area. And this is recorded in the Yalkut Yosef. Haminig likvo mezuzah b'bate knesses b'li bracha, gam kishe'ein sham dira mamish. So that's how we do it. Now, which doorposts are subject to the obligation of mezuzah? In addition to the necessary requirements for the room itself, which we went over, we noted at the outset there are also certain basic requirements of the doorpost that are necessary in order for the obligation of placing mezuzah to take effect. In principle, an entrance must have two doorposts, one on either side, and a lintel on top, in order for the mezuzah to be. You can see diagram A on the bottom. What is the halacha where there's only a doorpost on one side, and the other side is simply a regular wall without a doorpost, like you can see the picture? The Shach, citing the Rosh and the Tur, says that it depends which side has the doorpost. If it's on the left side, if the doorpost is on the left, one is exempt, since the mezuzah must be affixed on the doorpost on the right side. But the Shach concludes that one should affix a mezuzah, albeit without a bracha, even if it's on the left. So, according to the Shach, you have to put it on no matter what. Says the Shach, it's only the wall and not a doorpost. But venira di kavena below bracha. It says you should still do it on that side without a bracha. The other standard requirement for a doorpost was that it has to be 4 amas wide and 10 tfachim tall, right? The entranceway, which is equivalent to a height of 80 to 100 centimeters, or 31 and 39 inches. It has to be 31 wide and 39 tall. The Gemara in Eruvin cites a machlokas concerning a doorpost where the entrance is built in the form of an arch rather than a straight line across, right?
Like here.
Kippah, right? Reb Meir Mechayev b'mezuzah, Chachamim poitri. B'shavim, they agree, she'im yesh braglea, if the straight part leading up to the arch has at least asara tfachim she chayeves. Amar Abaye, hakol moedim in gvoy asara, if it's ve'ein braglea shloisha, if the entranceway is 10, but the height isn't at least 3, or inami yesh braglea shloisha ve'ein gvoy asara below klum, there's no mezuzah. Ki pligi b'yesh braglea shloisha, there's 3 going up, and the whole entrance space is 10. Ve'en rechava arba, and it's not 4 wide. But v'yesh bo lochuk lashlim al arba, but there is space in the rest of the wall where you could enlarge it. We sort of use a fiction and say, listen, since if you wanted to, you could enlarge it, it works. That's the Gemara. The Rishonim dispute what this case is all about. According to Rashi, as understood by the Beis Yosef, even if the semicircle begins close to the ground, you see, look at the picture D, right? There is no straight. Look at this arch here, right? The arch in this room, where there's a straight part.
Yeah.
This picture doesn't have that at all. Even if the semicircle begins close to the ground, as long as the doorpost is 10 tfachim high, and has a width of 4 tfachim, a mezuzah must still be placed there. That's how Rashi learned. On the other hand, the Rambam holds that this entrance will require mezuzah only if the doorposts are straight for at least a height of 10 tefachim before curving. Look at E. He says it would only require mezuzah if you have the straight part of at least 10 tefachim high. Says Machlokes Rashi and Rambam. Bayish yeshel mezuzah mikan mikan v'kipa kimin keshel shtei mezuzah b'mokum ha'mashkov im yesh begova mezuzahs. If the doorposts are asar tefachim, or yoser chayv mezuzah. V'im ein ben asar tefachim p'turim. The Shulchan Aruch paskins like the Rambam. So according to the Rambam, according to the Shulchan Aruch, this kind of would not require a mezuzah,
Right.
but the ones like this would
E
require.
wouldn't require it.
D would not, E would
But he
require.
would.
Says the Shulchan Aruch, Ein ha-pesach chai mezuzah elam ken yesh lo shtei mezuzahs u'mashkov. Bai shleish mezuzah mikan v'kipa kimin keshes has an arch al shtei mezuzahs that are sort of sitting on top of the door frame. B'mokom ha'mashkov im yesh begova mezuzahs yud tefachim o yoser. If the side doorposts are 10 high or chayiv, v'im ein bo yud tefachim potter. V'nei she'ein lo mashkov. Hagah says the Ramah, v'kol shekein pesach she'ein lo gova asar tefachim to potter mezuzah. If the whole entranceway isn't 10 tefachim, if you measure it from the bottom to the top of the arch, it would certainly be potter. Says the Chavis Sadar, which is another sefer on mezuzah. Ein shir la'oivei hamashkoif v'hamezuzos. He says that it doesn't have to be a certain width, the doorpost or the lintel. Aval mezuzos tzurchim shir goiv, that means width-wise, but height-wise they have to be at least 10 tefachim. V'lo yugvoy me'akarka gimel tefachim. They can't be like elevated. They can't be in the if they're 3 tefachim. If they start, if there's a space between the ground and those doorposts, 3 tefachim, it would be potter. Petach shein lo tzursa pesach. V'yesh lo daltos. So it doesn't really have like a door frame. It has an opening and has a door. Yesh p'turim v'yesh mechayim. We're not given a picture of that. Hamashkov tzarech lios mechuven me'ala mezuzos. This lintel has to be sort of directly on top of the doorpost. Aval ein hamashkov tzarech liga b'mezuzos. You notice, look at F, right? As long as there's a lintel, even though there's a space between the doorpost and the top, it would still require it. Yud Aleph, Pesach she'ein mezuzos of mechovanim zeket negzet. Look at G. It's slanted, right? It's not. They're not opposite each other exactly. They're a little slanted in. Imamashkov holech mezuzah, but if they built it so that there's a door frame between the two, nidonin kishtei mezuzahs. V'imlav ein nidonin kishtei mezuzahs, and therefore would be potter. Then petach mezuzos of amashkov einam yisharim ela ba'lachsom. Again, they're not straight; they're diagonal. O misaglim b'kikipa, or they're like an arch. Imein gova yud tefachim b'yosher, right? Like we learned, if it doesn't have 10 tefachim going up, im yesh b'chlal gova yud tefachim b'rochav dal tefachim yikva below bracha. Put a mezuzah without a bracha. V'imlav potter legamri. Petach she'ein lo daltos. Look at the H. We see this all the time. It doesn't have a door. Yikva below bracha. Now, we didn't remember when we put up. If you remember, when you put up your mezuzahs, you made one bracha,
Yeah.
and you proceeded to put all the mezuzahs up. But this is talking about, like, let's say now all of a sudden you realize you never made, and you bring a new mezuzah, so you fix it without a new bracha. Okay, stop here.
Shkoyach, great.